This is Season 2, Episode 7 of the Out of the Minds podcast. I'm Sean Oakley.
And I'm Sam Cooper, and I'm not appearing in this episode.
Is this going to happen every...
Again.
right.
Absolutely, it's going to happen.
Fair enough. Yeah, so we did take the stuff to club night. We both played a game. My one turned out to be the slightly more interesting one, so we will use that one. It's a short game. And I'll start off by saying I did not fly well. Spoilers, it does not go well for me. I did not fly well. I missed a lot of triggers. It seems to be my kind of thing at the moment. But the reason I felt this one was interesting is it all stems from one mistake. Or one big and two little, I think, as we'll see. And it's quite interesting where the mistake is and how it affects the game. So, we'll jump straight into it. We are playing Salvage Mission. And I'm playing Steve Burnett. That is Burnett Senior. I have brought the B-Wing list I've been flying recently with Ezra. I have made one change. I've swapped out Boy Luke for Endor Wedge. To get the I-6, to get the double modded APT. You know, I've got long range munitions, I suppose, with Gina. And with the action bar that the Endor X-Wings have, they can do a little bit more flanking that's a little bit more difficult for the the Yavin X-Wings, because they don't have a great action bar.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then Steve rocks up, and I immediately regret swapping out for something that wants to get into range 1.
Yeah, he's got an interesting list.
Yeah.
Like, I this is the sort of list I would love to fly.
Oh, I'll let you jump through it.
Because Steve is playing Scum. And he's got Dengar in the Jumpmaster with expert handling, Gar Saxon gunner, overtune modulators, and punishing one. And I believe Gar Saxon is the guy who is like remove a red token off an enemy to roll an extra dice.
Yeah, I believe it's red or orange.
Cool. And well, he's going to have a lot of valid targets on your end because there's something about the B-Wings, they do like being stressed.
Yes, they do.
And then, leaving regular territory, we have 3 Fangs.
Yeah.
We've got Joy Rekov with ion torpedoes and Beskar reinforced plating. Cad Solus with marksmanship, Mando optics, and Beskar reinforced plating. And Fen Rao with Predator, Fearless, Beskar reinforced plating, and Mando optics.
So, for anyone
I love it.
For anyone who doesn't know, Joy's ability is she can spend a charge off a munition to make the defender roll 1 less dice. And Cad's, I believe, is after he executes a red maneuver, gets 2 focuses.
Yeah, something like
that. But I'm like, yay! Fangs with Concordia and Beskar. And if you're Fen, an extra dice on the green. Immediately regretted changing Wedge for Luke, but you know, then be the.
But if you can catch him at range 2, like sure, sure, he's gonna Beskar your crits, but damage is damage.
Yep. If I catch them at range 2. So we set up. Objectives is literally a cross, near enough. And I brought small rocks. Steve's brought reasonably small 2 debris in a rock. And they're kind of scattered in a slightly elongated O around the centre objective out towards the edges. Like, there's no...
there's like a small rock directly next to the centre, and then the rest is sort of like a set of 3 above it and a set of 3 like below it, or to the left and right if you were actually playing.
Yes. So Steve's first player for setup. We only overlap on the 4 and 6. And so I set up Ezra first. And what I do is I set Ezra up just below the, as I'm looking at it, bottom left rock. This will allow him to either stop turn one, do a too hard to put him into a lane to go into the centre. I can two straight along the board edge, depending on where Steve sets up.
Yeah, you're about a third of the way in
Yeah.
from your left, essentially. You got options.
Yeah. And I'm realistically 2 moves away from the objective that's closest to my board edge to be able to pick up with it. And then Steve sets up his fangs. So for people watching, at the moment, I can't remember which one's Joy and Cad. I think the normal Fang is Joy. And I know a maneuver.
And the blue and white.
And the blue and white in the front, the darker blue and white is Cad. And then the light blue and white behind is Fen. I know that's.
But we'll get to Fen later.
Yeah.
And so they basically set up essentially opposite your gauntlet, the I4 Fangs. And so immediately that tells me gauntlet move.
Yes.
Because if I was playing those Fangs, 5 straight boost all day.
Yes. And I know that Steve likes to be aggressive. So I set up Braylon, who is in the white and red B-wing for people watching, about a third of the way in from the right-hand side. Basically, as far forward as you can, range 1. Basically, what I'm going to do is hard turn to the left, too hard, and then basically try and file both B-wings in behind the gauntlet.
Yep, makes sense.
I then set up Gina to the right so she can follow behind.
Then Fenrau sets up behind the other 2 Fangs, so there's basically like a reverse wedge of Fangs. And Dengar sets up like just about halfway on the halfway line, facing up towards Steve's right, so facing the Fangs. I can't see where his turret is pointed. It looks like it's pointed in the front, but I can't actually see.
Pointed in the front, yes.
So Dengar's setting up to basically loop around behind the Fangs.
So I set up Wedge just to the right of Gina. It will allow Wedge to go fast down that board edge, turn into the centre, maybe try and get a flank. Is the general game plan. But let's get into it. And there we go, and we're off. Yeah, apologies for anyone watching. The dice cam is not great. I am still working on that. But it should be enough that we can pick it up.
You should be able to vaguely see what happens.
I'm pretty sure I remember to do the first player, and it is me this turn. And I do a 2 straight with the gauntlet, and this is the mistake that costs me the game. There you go. First move. Job done.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Podcast over. Let's go.
Certainly it compounds the next. But that 2 straight, I should have 2-harded.
Yeah, because like... So assuming the B-Wings are doing their 2 hard, where's Ezra going next?
Yeah, you'll find out. What I should have done was 2-harded, and if I was really worried about the Fangs coming in and boosting, just reinforced. Because there's enough space that I'm almost in that gap that I can go with 2 straight, I can do a 2 bank. Hell, Ezra doesn't care about being stressed. I can do a 3 bank, get a focus, chopper. It's kind of the whole point of the build.
Yeah.
It's what I should have done. And yeah, we'll watch why. But yeah, and I just take a focus. And then I do the 2 hards. I do the 2 hards with Braylon.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, you can already see it.
Yeah. So Cad and Joy looks like a 5 straight and focus.
They do a 5 straight. They don't opt to boost, which I was a little surprised about because I think
in this case, I can't remember the Fang's straight blues.
I think,
but like
everything.
just judging by where it is, a bank boost, the rightmost one looks like they'll go straight into a rock. The leftmost one should be able to clear, but then like it's sort of on their own.
2 straight, 3 straight.
Yeah. And then you can't even go fast enough to get some good action. So I quite like this.
Okay.
Just leaves the dial open. Although I do feel like if you just like one bank the B wings, no matter what the fangs do, they should be eating torpedoes.
Yeah. Gina follows in behind Braden, and then Wedge does a full straight, and I opt to boost because Steve's not tried to do any cutting back behind shenanigans. The boost, although it gets me a deplete, I think a 2 bank clears the rock I'm near, which will get rid of that on the next turn, and Wedge is happy.
So Fen does a 5 straight and focuses, and what does Dengar do? Well, just a 1 bank and focuses. Okay, so Dengar's being a bit safer, and the Fangs are committing.
Yeah. And I already have a problem.
Yeah, where's Ezra going?
Where's
One
Ezra?
bank?
Well, I think a 1 bank clips.
Price of doing business.
Yeah. That's not the option I go for. I am first player again. And Ezra stops and rotates.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to bump.
Yeah,
I take
sense.
a stress. And then I chop her a shield to pick up the crate.
Yeah.
I figured it was worth it just to start ticking up some points.
Can you do that? Is Chopper just do an action in your action step, or is Chopper?
I thought it was you may perform an action in your perform action step.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I didn't know if it was a you may perform an action shenanigan.
I will have to check that as we record because
yeah, it is during the perform action step.
Okay, I thought it was.
I didn't know if it was like one of those. You can do an action even while stressed for a thing, and I was like, but is it after the perform action step?
No, I'm sure it's specified during the perform action step.
I just had a look. It is specifically during.
So yeah, and yeah, I'm first player. The B-Wings actually do a 2 straight because I hedged bets on where Steve was going to go. But I focused into a barrel roll because I thought it would bring the arc up and then I can start doing the shenanigans. I think that was kind of the issue with the bank, was a bank and then a barrel roll starts committing me to one side or another of that rock.
Yeah.
And I looked at that, and even looking at it at this angle, I thought a 1 bank next turn puts me right in front of the rock, and then I just
can go either way.
then I can go either way. And yeah, so the Fangs.
So Cad and Joy do 2 hards to the left going into the board, and the first one focuses, and the second one
picks up a crate. You'll see the little grey crates I used to.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah,
that's okay. No, I like that. Actually, no, that actually makes sense because he knows where Braylon is.
So he probably knows
and
where
Gina's gonna be like there.
Yep. So Gina, follows behind with the 2 straight, focus into a roll for the stress.
And you maybe have a shot, like it's an iffy shot if you have one.
So spoilers, I have range onto Joy for the target lock, but not arc for the shot.
Okay.
Wedge does his 2 bank, and I just opt to focus because I'm not sure where people are going. Maybe Joy and I trade range 3 shots, but I'm not going to boost deplete myself. It's not worth
waste of time.
Yeah.
So, Dengar does a 1 hard to the left and grabs a crate, and Fen does a 2 hard to the left, and I assume focuses.
No.
Regular boost, but a regular boost bank to the right. Does that fit?
It does not. No.
That would have been spicy if it had fit, though.
Yes, it would. So yeah, we check. Gina picks up her lock, but I think we do shoot Wedge into Joy at range 3. I end up with 3 hits, and I plink, I believe, 2 of them through, and then regain a focus token. Dengar has a shot into me, which I dodge. And then Joy goes back into me and plinks 2 shields off Wedge. So,
all right, equal trade? Question mark. I mean, I guess if Joy is saying, haha, Wedge, no defense dice.
Yeah, I believe
Right.
he spent a charge to take one off, so I'm just on the two, and that extra focus did me no good. But now once again, I have a problem. Where does Ezra go? Because Ezra
Yeah.
doesn't have a one straight.
No. I mean, honestly, one bank and accept the bump.
I don't do that. I do accept the bump though. We roll off, and I am first player again. And system phase. Steve Mando optics a lock from Joy onto Wedge.
Onto Wedge. Yeah, makes sense. Like, it's free.
I opt not to drop any bombs. And
Also makes sense.
Ezra reveals a 3 straight, which is white. Spend the 2
Yep.
charges on Night Brother to get a focus.
Yep.
Checks Ray, and then probably just goes into Gina, I believe, and takes a damage. But I didn't have a maneuver there that wasn't going to bump, so at least by dialing in the white, I can get the focus.
Yeah, no, makes sense.
Braylon does his one bank that at the
Ooh,
time,
he's on a rock.
yeah, I was convinced it cleared. Even watching the podcast back, like from this angle, I thought it
Like,
would do it. And
it's also hilariously wrong, though, isn't it? That's like really on the rock.
yeah, it's on the rock. Yeah, it's on the rock, and he takes 2 damage.
All right.
Yeah,
That's not the move I was expecting.
I was caught out by this as well. So Steve's 4K to Joy.
Yeah.
Betting on Wedge going fast.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, Wedge wants to get in and use an APT. It's a reasonable bet.
Yeah.
And then Cad does a 2 straight.
Yeah, takes focus. Gina does a 1 bite because she's following.
I went awkward because Brennan's not stressed.
Awkward.
I mean, I guess you.
But I
you have a lock.
I already have a lock.
The problem is the person you've locked is in a 4K.
Yeah, but I focus barrel roll because it still gets her an arc.
Yeah.
Now, what have I forgotten to do again, Sam? What don't you see on Gina?
Evade.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the 2 charges.
Yeah, I've got the 2 charges. Onto the Fang Fighter that has no green dice and is taking a Protop. Yes, I think it might be obstructed, but she's got 2 health. She's got 2 health, and I can almost guarantee a crit going through.
Yeah, because Joy's not looking at her, so no Beskar.
Yeah. And Wedge does a 1 straight.
I mean, yeah. Like, I probably would have been... I maybe wouldn't have done the 4K, but I would have bet on Wedge going reasonably fast to try and get his APT off. So I don't think the 4K was a terrible idea.
No. That's fine. And I look at this for a second, and I focus into a boost and take the deplete.
Ah, yes, because you take the deplete because you can Fen Rao it, right?
Yes. But the problem I have is I have now committed all 3 mistakes that cost me the game. And we will go through that.
So Dengar does a 2 straight and focuses. And Fen Rao bumps into Cad Solus.
But irritatingly is still just range 1 of Wedge. I believe Fen takes a damage. So.
Yep, ouch.
So the mistakes that have cost me the game. Doing the 2 straight with Ezra, because it's made Ezra's... Every move Ezra's had to do since then has been compromised.
Yeah.
I won't even talk about the 1 bank onto the rock, because it didn't look that...
That's just a misjudgment. Yeah, people misjudge that all the time. It is a mistake, and it is going to cost you.
Yes, but it's not.
But you can't really talk much about that.
No. It's not the mistake. The evade on Gina, and that cost me, and that Wedge boost.
Yeah,
I should have just sat back, seen where Fen had gone. If Fen wants to boost into range 1 of me, fine. Fen can boost into range 1 of me. He's likely stressing himself. I had a range 1 shot into Joy that has no tokens. Yes, she's got Concordia for 1. but that's Concordia for 1. What I now have is Wedge taking 3 range 1 shots from Fang fighters.
Yeah, Interestingly, actually, Steve's trap has worked because it didn't work when you once rated, but then you boosted into the trap.
Yeah, I got greedy. I wanted to fire my APT off.
Yeah.
And do you want to know the really funny thing? Is in a minute, I don't even fire my APT because I'm like, what's the point? You'll just Beskar it and you'll Concordia. If I just go the 4 dice of a range 1 shot, I've got a better chance of getting 4 hits because you've got to change a hit to a crit.
Yeah.
And I can't shoot the ship that has no tokens. I mean, I can shoot Fen, but Fen gets like 1,000,000 dice. So,
You're technically right, but I would argue in this case, I would still fire the APT, because although Beskar is cancelling a crit, you're making him drop the crate no matter what.
Yeah, that's true. So I heighten perception with Ezra, and I have a range 3 shot into Cad. So I'll just see if I can plate the focus off before Wedge shoots him. I end up with 3 hits. Steve rolls an evade and 2 focuses, and he does spend it. And then I'm here checking.
Even more reason. I mean, even more. Actually, no. Who's first player? You're first player. Even more reason to fire that APT.
So I fire range 1. I forget to check the Fen trigger, so I'm depleted and down to 3 dice. No. I know.
No.
I know. Oh, yeah.
You even measured range a second ago. Were you even in range 2?
Of who?
Maybe of Ezra. Because I'm looking at that. Not 100% sure you were in range 2.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't clock. Maybe I already clocked.
Either way, you should have checked.
Yeah. So yeah, I roll focus blank. I opt to spend the focus because I'm there thinking, all right, I've got 5 health. There's no green tokens on any of the Fang fighters. I have a chance of.
Ben has Fearless and Predator.
Ben has Fearless and Predator, but none of the others have. Like I at this point, I was hoping Joy probably wouldn't be around. She's got 2 health and is taking a Protorp.
Yeah.
So I do opt just to spend the focus, which he dodges.
So you don't get your focus back.
But I don't get my focus back. Then Fen goes into Wedge, and Steve rolls hot. I think 1 blank and the rest are hits and crits. And obviously Fearless.
Yeah. Fen does Fen stuff.
So Wedge goes down to 2 health. Yeah. So that was 3 through with a structural damage.
Oh, God, you're dead. You're beyond dead.
Oh yeah, I knew I was the structural damage. I knew I was dead at that point.
Dead.
I go to Gina.
It's certainly a trap.
I go to Gina, who fires the Protop into. Oh no, sorry. This is Dengar into Gina. He takes my stress to roll the extra dice.
Yeah, makes sense.
So rolls 4, gets 4 hits. Not even has to spend his focus. I rolled a focus and I end up spending it.
Why?
Because I had 2. Sorry, I think I rolled 2 because it was obstructed through the rock.
Right. Okay.
So I opt to spend.
I was going to say, I thought you were rolling 1, and I was like,
no,
why,
on one I wouldn't have, but it was 2 focuses, so it means I only take 2 shields.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
This is me firing a Protorp into Joy, and I end up with hit, crit, and Steve rolls 3 of 8 on the blank.
I wish he had Duke.
And no, I wish I had Duke, because that crit would be going through. Who knows what it would have been, but Joy takes nothing. And then it's Steve's shooting, and he kills.
Wedge goes down to the first one.
He kills Wedge, and he takes 1 more shield off Gina with the second one.
Yeah.
So, not ideal, but it's completely of my own making.
Yeah.
Like
it really is.
Yeah. The Wedge was just the Wedge was an error of judgment. Like I should have just sat with the focus back, and because Fen's range 2, Cad's range 2, and if I want to shoot range 1 into Joy, fine, gets Concordia, but I get an extra dice.
Yeah.
Or I could have taken the range 2 shot into.
Yeah.
Particularly if Ezra had heightened perception and flipped the focus off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Not much to say about that. It is.
No, not much to say.
That's on me. But the next round, continuing the. Oh, God, I've screwed myself on Ezra.
You just one bank, right?
See, the problem with the one bank was I wasn't sure it fit inside the B-Wings.
I don't think you should give a damn. I think you should one bank.
I don't one bank.
But you've already Night Brothered, so you're not getting a focus.
I'm not, but I've got Chopper. I've still got 9 health left.
Bold statement. I hate saying I've still got 9 health left in the face of 3 Fangs and Dengar at close range is a very bold statement.
It's currently 2-9 to Steve, by the way. Just a heads up on the points. We roll off, and Steve is first player, after I don't have an I6 to worry about it. And system phase, he Mando optics a target lock.
Onto Gina from
Gina,
Fen, I assume.
Yeah, I think Fen.
And also, Cad, because Cad did have a shot into you, I thought.
Yeah, he did. I don't think he has from Cad. No, I don't think he does. Gina drops an ion bomb out the right-hand side because I'm reasonably confident Dengar's going down that way.
Yeah, probably catch Dengar. All good.
Right, so and then I 3-bank with Ezra.
Okay. Because
I want to jump in front of the B-Wings. And this goes a little bit further forward than I thought it would. Also, I wanted to make sure I fully executed a maneuver because I needed to get the swivel ring down. Because
that makes sense.
I will die in the face of 3 Fangs and 1 green dice. So
yeah,
and I don't Chopper.
Yeah, no, you need your health.
No.
All right, so that is a bump from Cad.
Yeah, a bump from Cad into Ezra with a 2 hard. A self bump
from Joy.
And it's irrelevant.
Takes a damage.
Braylon does a 2 hard, which doesn't clear Ezra, and lands back on the same rock.
Yeah, when I saw where Ezra went, I was like,
yeah,
not sure how. Yeah, I was like, I wonder what Braylon's doing.
As I say, I thought I'd just be slightly further back. And then a 3 straight from Gina, which does not clear. I don't think it cleared Ezra, let alone the Fang fighters.
Oh, good God.
Yeah. So she bumps into the back of Ezra and lands on the tiny rock.
Yeah. In your own ion bomb, too.
I mean, I wasn't fussed about the ion bomb, to be honest.
Yeah. Dengar does a 2-bank, it looks like, and rotates his turrets.
Well, you can't rotate a turret on a Jumpmaster. You must link something into a rotate.
Target lock into a rotate.
Yeah, so Steve lands literally on top of my ion bomb and opts to target lock into a rotate as opposed to focus into a rotate.
Hey, you're allowed to make bad choices.
Oh yeah.
Maybe he felt sorry for you at this point.
I thought about going. You probably don't want to do that, Steve. And then I thought, oh, screw this. He's got this game. The moment two of my B-Wings are on rocks, so the writing was on the wall on this one. Fen bumps again.
Fen bumps into the
and takes a damage. So I've got half the health off on Fen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fun. The fact that he's stomping you and is bumping all his fangs is kind of hilarious at this point because Ezra doesn't have a shot into the fangs, does he?
Yes, he does.
He just has.
He does have range 1 into Fen.
Oh, that'll be fun. Do you even bother heightened perceptioning at this point?
I can't remember if I do or not, and we'll find out in a minute.
I think you don't because you're stressed, and so your force point is a focus token at this point.
I was slightly concerned about him just blatting me, though, is the problem.
To be honest,
it's too.
I think if he's gonna I think if he's going to blat you, you accept the blatting.
Fair. This is me, hands on head, trying to work out whether I heighten perception.
I don't think you do. I think it is a waste of time.
I do. So
because you will have no mods.
Yeah.
And Fenrir out range 1. Yeah, he doesn't have a focus token, but he's rolling 4 dice, and he's got Beskar and Concordia. Like, he's probably not dying.
Fair. Amusingly, I could have fended the stress off, so if I survived, I could have stopped next turn. But I really
you didn't invent
I really have a blind spot.
Wait. Oh, also, no. Wait. Oh, that's interesting. If because my whole point of having the force as a focus token is defeated if you fend yourself, but you can't fend yourself, can you? Or can the crew fend yourself? Have I got it the wrong way around?
Yes, he can fend himself. The crew can fend himself. I know what I did, and I think I go and get it in a minute. Is Ezra took the ion bomb. I removed one of the ion tokens.
Ah, okay.
Because then I only have 2, and I don't actually have to ion maneuver next turn.
Yeah, that's true.
I go range 1 into Fen and do nothing. Fine. And then we'll speed through this. Steve blats the smeg out of me, basically.
He just kills Gina, does he?
Yeah, here we go. Here's us marking to work out ranges and stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he shoots into the B-wings. Yeah, because Dengar went range 1 into Gina, so did Fen. So that's Gina dead. And I believe that's the point I call it.
Yeah.
Because there was literally no points.
Yeah, that's kind of it.
That
like, Ezra and Braylon not going to win you the game, I'm afraid.
Well,
from that far back.
At that point, he still had 2 fangs that could shoot into Braylon.
Yeah.
Like, Dengar just sweeps behind and blinks him back. And because Gina dying made it like 14-2 before objectives. So I think it would have been like 16-3.
Yeah, 16-3 in the end.
Yeah.
And then Brennan's dead. Like, next turn, somehow Brennan will die, and then he just won.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't really see a way of Brennan not dying.
Braylon drops a proton bomb to the right.
I think he might get some points, but I think Braylon still dies.
I just bug out.
Like,
he's not stressed, so
yeah, I guess. I don't know, because I mean,
it's fine. I wasn't worried about it because I had the game written off. Proton bomb would have killed Joy though, which I mean, yeah, like
assuming Steve didn't see it coming, which that is entirely true, entirely possible.
So Wedge was just a misjudgment on my part. Well, I mean, they were all misjudgments. That's kind of the whole point. But it's particularly what I wanted to do was that Ezra, that first move, and the consequences it then had for the rest of the game.
Yeah, because you outlined that your plan at the start was you wanted Ezra in front, and then the way you played, Ezra was just stuck behind, unless...
It was a combination of the 2 straight and the 2 hard from the B-wings just being closer than I thought they would be.
Right.
I then had no way to get Ezra in front of the B-wings without a lot of self-bumping.
Yeah.
And maybe at some point I should have just got him in front and bumped the B-wings into him. But I was constantly doing it. I need the B-wings to be stressed to get their stuff. I can't afford a bump and not even have a focus. Maybe if Wedge had survived, or more, if I hadn't boosted him so Wedge survived, so he's that threat, I could have. But it literally, like, if I just 2-harded with Ezra, done the 2 hards with Gina and Braylon, and then the next turn stop with Ezra, bring the B-wings in behind with a 1 straight if they need it. There are, and then they're there, And like that gauntlet's always going to be moving fast enough to
stay ahead.
Or if I really need to stop and I don't want the B-Wings to jump over them, at least the B-Wings are likely stressed already at that point. So if I self-bump them in, they'll still get a focus and a lock.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It was just... I don't think it was bad turn 0. It was bad turn 1 execution. Like, but it's that one...
It's not... Yeah, it wasn't bad turn 0. It was just like... It was just... Like, almost like just not actually thinking where this ship is going to end up after you've put the move in. Almost. Like, it's sort of like... Because the plan is fine. Like, Ezra's sort of like, I'm gonna, you know, calmly come along here and then I'm going to turn in front. Then you move and like, yeah, I cannot turn in front.
Well, I think it was, ironically, the 2 hards on the B-Wings that caught me out. Because even though I do a 2 hard with the X-Wing all the time, I still have this image of a B-Wing being a slow ship. And it it almost makes me think the template shrinks, if that makes sense, like psychologically. What I need to do is just practice some openings.
Yeah.
Work out what distances you need to be away from things. But it was like I was, in a sense, on a back foot from the outset from Wedge versus Fangs. Like, it's not ideal for one of my hammers. But then, yeah, that opening turn just put me on a massive back foot for the entire game. And it was like, I was literally fighting Steve and myself.
Yeah. But I also think to dilute it slightly, I don't think it set you it set you behind, but I think you then compounded it with moves later, because like the setup mistake didn't make you boost Wedge into range.
No. Yeah. I'm ignoring the Wedge.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
This was a specific look about how the setup or the turn 1 move made Ezra be suboptimal, which then caused the B-Wings to bump and land on rocks. Like, if Ezra had been in the front in the first place, then he could have just moved past them, shot out the back, stopped, turned around the next turn. Like, you know, yeah. Because Ezra should have been where he is on the screen now. Turn 3.
He should have been there on the turn that Joy did her 4K.
Yeah. And if I got the B-Wings up close enough, maybe even turn 2 when Steve does the 2 hards in.
Yeah.
But
and then that becomes quite interesting, because... Yeah, I don't know how that would go, because... I mean, yeah, I know. Well, at that point, that's just Fang stuff, right? Like, if you're at range 1, the Fangs are going to do Fang things.
But also, they've
got Ezra to chew through first.
Well, that's it. If Ezra's at range 1, then Gina probably isn't. Braylon maybe, but unlikely.
Braylon's probably not a range 1.
Like, honestly, Gina and Braylon are probably sat behind Ezra. Yes, not the perfect shot for Braylon, but it means if you shoot him, I've definitely got It's a Trap coming off, and and for the love of God, I specifically build these lists to have Fen Rao crew in it, and every time I forget to use it. And again, another, would have really come in useful.
Yeah.
But hey, I will continue playing this and do some openings.
Because to be honest, I think the list is good, but it's one of those things where it's like, I think keep trying it, because I don't think you can take this as this list is bad sort of thing, because
no.
Essentially you did sort of kind of screw up the opening, and you decided to give away Wedge as a freebie.
Yeah, no, I don't think the list is bad.
There's
still arm and arm in my mind between Wedge and Luke. But we all know Luke can die just as quickly.
I mean, I've said this. Well, with Luke, you wouldn't have boosted in, but I've said this a lot. I don't functionally think there is a difference between the two of them.
No,
they just do different things, and they both do them very well.
Yeah, and that's kind of Wedge was in there because the thing that he does that Luke doesn't is poses a bigger threat at range 1. Which, if I'm not flying against Fangs, might make people more iffy about coming into range 1.
Yeah,
So,
and I think that's still valid.
yeah.
And but I also think that if I'm being brutally honest, you are overthinking Beskar. I think you should have fired the APT, if only to make it so that Gina's Protorp, which should have a Duke coming with it, doesn't have to care about the Beskar.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have been able to shoot.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like the idea being that,
yeah, that's
like,
true.
If you're against Beskar and you're thinking, "Oh, I won't fire the APT because of Beskar," I think you're at that point you're overthinking it. Still fire it because you've got someone else who wants to shoot into it.
Yeah.
Who's frankly just as, if not more dangerous.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you remember to trigger Duke, but that's neither here nor there.
And that's why I just need to play it more. Play it more. Although amusingly, the one I'm bringing to Club Night, I have tweeted because we were discussing this earlier. Of dropping Wedge down to Boudica and then Ezra becomes Kanan in the Ghost.
Yeah,
I think could be interesting. But like, I'm kind of going to bring both lists and just have a player. We've got no events in the near future, so I've got time to play and practice. And we will very much try and get Sam to have a good game. In fact, I might get you to play first tomorrow, and then if you don't have a good game, get you to play another one, and then people have got to be bored of listening about my beat wings by now.
Well, it's not like my list is that much more interesting.
Are you flying the same one, or?
I'll be flying the same one.
It's quite interesting. Right, on that note, we'll wrap it up for this week. Nice quick one.
Nice quick one, a little bit of a blitz through. We'll see if we have something crazy and complicated next week from me, because boy, can I make games complicated.
I mean, don't throw away your i6 hammer, and I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah. Haha! I have no i6 hammer.
Fair enough. I was going to say
my i5 scalpel tends to not die.
I know. I was about to say you can't really throw away dirge even if you try. So, yeah, fair dues. Right. On that note, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. See you next week, guys. Ta-ta.